Hello and welcome to today's session. I'm going to see if I can jump this out to Facebook. You used to be able to do it, then you couldn't, and it's always fun to see if we can actually make things work. So let's see if it works. Yes. Give me a second as we figure this out. We're going to, can I put this on Good Food? It's not going to let me put it on Good Food and You. All right, no problem. All good. So we're going to get started. Hello, welcome to today's session. I'm your holistic nutrition practitioner. My name is Lucas Simmons, and we have lots of material to cover today because it's a brand new month. So this, what you're watching right now, is what I call the orientation call. And there's a couple of different purposes to this particular session. It should be about 45 or 50 minutes in length. I'll try to keep it to that. It is meant to do one of two things. So if you're in the network already, it's meant to give you a deep dive into what it is that we've got on offer this month and where to find all the moving parts. That's one piece of it, which we finish the session with. But it also serves as a place to see if what I'm talking about is going to be relevant to you. So first, we're going to help you figure out, is this content that will be applicable to you? Would you get any benefits out of the material and the content that we're sharing this month in the Good Food Network? Because this is what it's all about. It is about helping give you those pieces, those manageable small steps that you can put in place in order to support the main topic of our Good Food Network for the month. So without further ado, shall we? What are we covering this month? We are covering a brand new topic. I'm very excited to say this topic has yet to be covered in the Good Food Network. And it was, there were 3 people actually in the network who said, do you think, Luca, maybe you could? Could you talk about the microbiome? Oh, how have I never done it before? So, because it is an overarching, big, complicated thing that we all I don't know if you're the same way. When I first, or when I hear about people talking about the microbiome, I just automatically go to, oh, I'll just take a probiotic and I'm good. Sometimes that will help, sometimes it will make things worse, and it's not the only piece you can do. And in fact, in about 80% of my clients, it is not the piece that I would actually recommend. I recommend a bunch of other stuff first so that you don't even need to go to the probiotic piece. And I know we live in a culture where we are privy, or we have this tendency to want to go for the quick fixes, for the one thing that's going to help in the moment. I am from the land of slow, methodical, little pieces that are sustainable to put in place one after another in order to reduce the need and reliance on the quick fixes. Because we want to let go of the quick fixes, because the quick fixes are never long-term. They never support us long-term necessarily. That's kind of the overarching theme that I see in so many of the practices that are being recommended. So for me, I'm in it for the long haul. I'm in it for your long haul health, and I'm in it to make it doable for all of the humans. Yeah. So let's get into the very key questions. Now I'm going to break this down into a few things. You need to know if this is something that's going to be relevant to you and something that you'll want to cover. So I'm going to ask you, what of these top 10 ways do you have that tells us that your microbiome is asking for help? I've got 10 right here on this piece of paper. Follow along with me. I want you to grab a piece of paper and a pen, and I want you to tell me how many check marks you got when you listen to this part. Okay. Before we get into the top 10, I have to make it obvious that there are the big guys. If you have a chronic health condition, if you have an autoimmune condition, if you have cancer, if you've ever gone through cancer treatment, if you have any type of inflammation, honey, that will always necessitate everything that we do in the Good Food Network, because that's what I do as a principle. Having set that aside, what are some of the more sneaky ways or less obvious ways that you may need to, or that your body might be telling you that you may need some help in looking after the microbiome. And number one, do you struggle with skin stuff? What do we mean here? Acne, persistent acne, acne that continues even though you're not 15 years old. Yeah. Rosacea, hives, eczema, any type of skin irritation. The skin is a route of elimination for the body when the other routes are not working properly. And the microbiome plays a key role in some of that. So if you're not eliminating through the regular routes, it tells me those routes aren't working and the microbiome is struggling. So do you have skin issues? Put a check mark. Number two, do you struggle with any type of mood-related symptoms? This can go either the lower end, like low moods. You may have a diagnosis of depression even, or a history of it. It can also be the other end. It could be anxiety. It could be that you're a person who worries a lot, or mental health feels like a very precarious thing. And the piece of mood regulation and regulating your emotions feels like a monstrous task that is just draining you of energy. All of these I would put a check mark for. Okay, number three, insomnia. What? Luca, what does that have to do with the microbiome? That's in my brain, Luca. In part, but do you know that a lot of the building blocks in order to make the brain pieces work to support your sleep are actually made in your gut by your microbiome? And for many people who struggle with insomnia, the making of those compounds at the gut is not working well because the microbiome is struggling. So insomnia to me, whenever I have somebody in my care who has insomnia, I will always have microbiome pieces worked into our approach. Number four, I think this one's obvious. Anybody who is reacting to food, are you farty? Are you gassy? Is there certain foods you can't bring in because you're gonna clear the room with your stink bombs? Do you have constipation? Do you have pretty persistent diarrhea? All of those are very clear indicators that something's going on at the gut. And when something's going on at the gut, your microbiome is off and it needs some help. Yeah. Okay, number five. Is the list of foods you cannot tolerate getting longer? Have you taken out all the foods that offend and now you have to take 3 more out? I guarantee you your microbiome is not doing well. That's a massive part of what's going on. Your microbiome is a part of how you digest. And if you can't digest, something's missing somewhere. And the microbiome is going to be one of the pieces that needs some support here. Number 6, this one is very curious indeed. And when you give it a think, you kind of go obviously. Number 6, cavities or gum disease. Do you have a steady stream of cavities? This is actually what got me into nutrition in the first place. I had a kiddo who developed 12 cavities over the span of 9 months. There was a lot of microbiome pieces and a lot of digestive pieces that needed some fine tuning. And she hasn't had cavities in now 12 years since that time. So very pleased. 14 years now, almost. So cavities, gum disease, number 6. Number 7, do you struggle with brain fog? There's a high percentage of people who struggle with brain fog where the microbiome is having a hard time and that there's some gut issues going on, in particular the microbiome piece. So anybody with brain fog would get benefits from supporting the microbiome. Number 8, is your immune system struggling? Couple of different ways I think about this. Do you have an autoimmune condition? That's a very big part of that is a microbiome trouble because it's your microbiome that helps you identify which cells are yours, which ones are other. And when you have an autoimmune condition, that capacity to differentiate between your own cells and the cells of other things is not working as well. And you may tend to start attacking, I hate saying it that way, but you start attacking your own cells because the immune system cannot notice that it's you. Yeah. Another way that I see this, do you get all the colds and flus? Are you sick all the time? Do you take forever to get over a cold or a flu? Yeah. Number 9, bad breath. Bad breath is an indication of things going on further down the digestive tract that are not necessarily working well and could use some benefit and some supports to the microbiome. And number 10, have you ever had a concussion, struggled with a head injury from a motor vehicle accident? Have you ever had any head trauma? Do you know that head trauma, 0.millisecond after there is trauma to the head, there is a wiping out of your microbiome at the gut level? Yeah. It's one of the biggest reasons or ways to explain why, when you've struggled with a massive head injury or head trauma of sorts, motor vehicle accident, concussion, there's a change to your digestion, to your poops, to how farty you are, to the foods you tolerate, the foods you don't tolerate. And that piece is because of the negative and direct impact, 0.1 second after impact on the head, to your microbiome. Yeah. Isn't that something? Those are the top 10. And these are the ways that I see it in my clients. When anybody with any of these symptoms comes to me and says, look, I need some support, I guarantee you we're going to be doing some microbiome support. Now, those are just the top 10. They're not everything. I'm going to read you some more. Constipation. Constipation can absolutely be an indicator that there's some microbiome issues that aren't working well. Is this you? Bloating, gas. Do you have a meat baby after you eat a steak where you're like, why am I 6 months pregnant? I'm not pregnant. Do you have IBS? Everybody with IBS has microbiome issues on the go. Do you have energy that is tanking? Anti-metabolic work that is struggling in the body, anything with an energy output kind of thing, could absolutely have a microbiome piece to it. Is your nervous system struggling? Do you have nervous system issues? This could be ALS, MS, some of those big diagnoses, but it could also be that you feel stress very keenly and you are quick to jump on worries and need to be ahead of everything because everything has to be in place, because if it's not, you're going to really lose it. That's me. Yeah. Do you have blood sugar balancing troubles? That should have actually been one of the top 10. Anybody with blood sugar troubles has an imbalance in their microbiome. It is a massive player in how your body can tolerate and handle and metabolize your carbohydrates, whether you're eating them or not. It's not just for people who eat candy, it's for people who have a lot of stress. If you are a slow detoxifier, if you have methylation issues, if you have liver issues, chances are your microbiome needs some support. If you have weight gain in the midriff area, that's an indicator that your stress response is on all the time. And when the stress response is on, it shuts down your microbiome. Oh. Great, Luca. Yeah. Why don't we just read the signs? It's not like you're broken. It's because your body's putting in a protective detail because it perceives that you're in trouble. So how do we set up biochemical safety in the body then? How do we make your body feel safe? We address the microbiome. When you support the microbiome, you're building safety in the body. You're reducing your body's stress load just by looking after your microbiome. Look, a probiotic can do that? It's on an individual basis. I don't have many clients where I would recommend them a probiotic for the rest of life. I don't think it's a solution. I think it's a stopgap solution, and it's falling short of what would nourish your body to do it by itself. That's actually the work I propose. We're going to do it so we're not reliant on short-term solutions and band-aid solutions. Yeah. What else do we have here? Metabolic health isn't up to snuff. So if you have a lot of cravings, if you're hungry at weird hours, if you have blood sugar balancing issues, thyroid issues, I guarantee you your microbiome is also struggling. Other things, if you've had long COVID, or if you struggled, if you got COVID at any point, do you know that the virus itself has been shown to completely alter your microbiome? Yeah. Does that mean everybody who's had COVID needs a probiotic? No. It means everybody who's had COVID needs to look after their microbiome and the whole gut area so that their microbiome can come back online and thrive. Not something a pill comes in. Nothing from the pills sticks around. It never did. It was never meant to. But there are ways to support your own gut so that your own microbiome can come back online, as it were. Whew, those are really, really big pieces. So here's what I propose. Did you say yes to any of these? Are you curious about the microbiome? Do you know you have a chronic health condition and you've always wondered, I'd love to look after my microbiome, but I don't know how to go about it? Well, it's everything that we're going to be doing in the Good Food Network for all of November and all of December. So if you're looking for solutions to put in place, if you're looking to resolve the symptoms I just name checked, if you are done with having insomnia, if you are done having anxiety or the midriff or the bloating or the gas, or you are still recovering from the brain injury and you just can't make those last pieces fall into place, how's your microbiome, pal? Let's look after it. What will life be like when you start to resolve these issues? I'm going to show you how we're going to do it. Okay. I'm going to take you over now to what the Good Food Network looks like so that you can get a good sense of what awaits you when you join us. So first things first, when you go over to the Good Food Network, first you need to actually log in. And on each and every single page of my website, lucasimmons.com, on the bottom left, there is a button here that says log into the Client Hub here. So make sure you use that link so that you can make your way to the Good Food Network. When you log in where the network is housed, this is your home page you get to, and you'll find it under Programs. So when you're in Programs, look for GF Network. That's what it is, the Good Food Network. Good Food Network was too long, and then it is over images that I didn't like. So I like the look of GF Network a little bit better. It's a bit easier to read. Okay, this is what awaits you when you come and join us. So I'm going to maximize my screen, and I'll encourage you, anybody who's going to join us in the Good Food Network this month, do it when you're on a computer. It's way easier than managing it on a personal device, like on a little phone or on even an iPad. It's way easier when you can stretch it out on a screen because you'll see everything and access things a little bit better. It's designed for computer use. When you get to the program, Good Food Network, you've got a series of modules here. And you know you're looking at the modules because that's the piece that's highlighted from your menu on the left. So you've got different sections. You've got the section of Start Here. You've got a section of pre-recorded content, live sessions, and written content. Start Here is where you start. Pre-recorded content is content that was pre-recorded that you can watch whenever you want. Live sessions are live sessions that are tied to a specific time this month that you can join in live, or if you can't join us live, you watch the replay. They're all housed in here. And the written content is just that. It's written content. When you first join the Good Food Network, your best first bet is to go to this module called Start Here Kitten. In here, there is a video, and this gives you a tour of how to use it and some of those tips and tricks that you'll want to come back to make the most out of the network. Let's go back to our modules. Your next spot you're going to want to go is the schedule and checklist. So here, you've got everything for November 2024. You can download and print this month's calendar just below to have on hand. This is what it looks like. And these are our live sessions. So you'll see here we have one on Thursday mornings at 7 a.m. Alberta time. We've got another one once a month that happens to be our live class. I'll show you where you'll find all this info. Our live class this month is one on the microbiome, obviously, because I don't have one yet, and it's highly long overdue. I was just building it before I started today's orientation call, as a matter of fact, and it is a very dense class, and we're going to make it delicious. Below that, you have the checklist for the month. This is how you make use and navigate through all the content and prioritize what it is you want to work on. So here's the deal. I give you too much. full disclosure, you're gonna go, good Lord, Simmons. Yeah, I do that because I have a lot in the wings waiting for you, and you will get to become the gatekeeper of what you want to address. So it's a discovery kind of journey for you. In here, I want you to use this checklist in this. This is what I would recommend you do. So you print it up, you'd be able to print it right here. You can download to your computer so you can print it from your downloads folder. But this is what your checklist looks like. Each of these checklist items are a potential to-do that you can do in the network. So where I like to start is do a few things that make you knock things off the list right away, like print up the schedule and worksheet. I printed them because you got it so you can write on it, and check it off as soon as you've done it. Once you've done that, then you're going to want to prioritize what it is you want to do this month. And you can choose only 3 things if you wish, or you can make time for everything if you have a little bit more time on your hands. If you only choose 3 things, I want you to scratch everything else out. What are the pieces that you will want to do? I'll show you each of these pieces individually in a moment so that once you're getting to the point where you'll print your own checklist, you'll have a better idea of what it is you're going to want to do for yourself. There's about 15 different ways that you can get into the content in the network. And the way you're going to access it is not wrong. Everybody's going to have a different list of priorities. So we've got a main topic module. We've got a real food reset video on food as medicine. There's a 2-hour vitality gut class. There is a full 90-minute cooking class on fermentation. We've got those Thursday morning sessions that are part of the live. We've got a live class on November 13th. We've got recipes. There's a whole section on eating with the seasons here on the fall season. And then we're going to do a weekly food challenge as well. So once you print this up, use the space on the left to prioritize and put it in the numbers that you want to prioritize. First, I want to do that fermentation class. I've always wanted to do a fermentation class, and at the cost of $35 a month, this feels pretty doable. I'm going to sit in on this fermentation class. So I'm going to do this one first. You know what? I want to print up the recipes because that makes it really easy and I can knock it out. So that's going to be number 2. And once you've done, you check it off. And so on and so forth. So choose what it is that you're going to want to spend time on this month. Everything will be tied back to fermentation and the microbiome. Don't you worry. So your worksheet for this month, everybody gets a worksheet every month. I like this idea because it's a one place where you can consolidate all of the to-do work that you'll come across in each of the different types of sessions in the network. And I've broken it down. So you've got your month up here, your topic, so that once you're done and the material's all going to disappear at the end of the month, you've built a 1-page cheat sheet that just has the Coles notes of what it is you need to do. So for example, at the beginning of the month, I recommend you start doing this. Okay, what are the main goals I want to do this month? What do I want to address? What do I want to work on? Why or how is it showing up in my body? So if I just read you the list and you were like, I have gum disease, I have an autoimmune condition, and I struggle with insomnia. Those are the 3 things I want to address. Then you'll write those down here because that's what you want to work on. Start by identifying what it is you want to address. Once you've identified what it is, now you know that when you're going to do the work we propose, it's going to be helping you with those things. It'll reduce the autoimmune symptoms. It will help you better sleep at night. What was the other piece? Oh, it'll help reduce the gum disease. If that's your constellation of things you're looking to look after. Now, as you go through the content, you're going to have some action pieces. So you could do regarding foods or regarding lifestyle ideas. So for example, I was just building the SOS microbiome class. So we've got 5 solutions worked in, and one of them is to work at the circadian rhythm piece. And I'll give you different ideas on how to do that, why it's important you will learn, why your circadian rhythm is tied to your microbiome's function, and why sometimes when your circadian rhythm is off, it's contributing to your microbiome being off and what to do to put those back in sync. So one of the to-do pieces may be eat your meals at the same time every day. Okay, food items. Eat my meals at the same time every day, circadian rhythm. So that 3 months from now, when you come back to the sheet, you're going to say, oh yeah, I'm addressing my insomnia and I'm eating my meals at same time every day because that's going to help me reduce insomnia. You go ahead, you plug away at it and you make it part of your day-to-day life. And then in 3 months from now, you come back to this sheet and you say, whoa, insomnia is totally improved. I used to have 3 nights, 4 nights a week of insomnia. I'm down to one every 2 weeks now. This is how we're going to know you're moving in the right direction. So use this sheet to jot down your to-do pieces from all the content in the network. All right. When you're done printing them up, you can use this Mark Completed button on the top right. When you click that Mark Completed, it's going to help you know that you've already addressed this module and you don't need to go back in if you don't want to. You can. Marking complete doesn't prevent you from going back to print it up again in case you lose your worksheet or something like this. But it marks it completed so that the next time you log in, you say, oh, I've already done that module. I don't have to remember what it is. There's other modules in here where it's a full written content on microbiome. Most people don't want to read tons of material, but if you're interested to know how the microbiome impacts other things and you love reading, go ahead and check out that module. For anybody who has any questions on the subscription and how some of the business side of things works, this is where you're going to find this. So you can check into that module. So the Start Here section at the top here of your modules is really about the admin stuff and kind of settling you in for what's going to be ahead in the month. Now, what kind of content can you access when you're in the Good Food Network? There's 3 versions: pre-recorded stuff, which means on demand. Think of it like a streaming service. Live stuff, which means you can join us live or watch the replay afterwards. And written stuff. I'm going to start with the written stuff because, pal, this is so easy. And you can knock a bunch of stuff right off the bat. So let's start with the recipes of the month. Every month in the network, you get 5 recipes. It's tied to the season, so we're eating seasonally. It is also tied to the topic at hand. And if we're talking about the microbiome, at the end of the month, you're going to know that these recipes here are going to have particular affinity to supporting your microbiome and how that is if you're checking out the classes. This is the practical application. In the SOS microbiome class, we are going to talk about red berries and red fruit and how particularly amazing they are at helping rebuild your microbiome. Well, that's nice, but I have to provide you with recipes. So in goes the pomegranate chutney recipe. Yeah, I've got a barbecue baked chicken drumsticks recipe, which is an easy weeknight recipe, not particular tied to the microbiome, but an easy weeknight staple that we tend to rely on quite a bit here at our house. There's a lasagna soup, a really easy one pot kind of toss everything in. Don't even want to make a whole lasagna. The soup version is like, put it in the pot, walk away. There's an instant pot version, there's a low histamine option, and there's a soup pot on the stovetop kind of version as well. So you'll get to pick and choose what it is you want. We've got a recipe on sauerkraut. Of course we do, because you need to know how to make your own ferments and see if it's something that you could tolerate. Yeah, not everybody tolerates it, but some of the people in the network will. So it's there for those who will. I originally did not used to tolerate fermented foods, and I have histamine issues. I can now tolerate fermented foods, and they are a massive part of my day-to-day existence and how I move through the world. And they have done wonders to actually help address what's at the root of why I had histamine issues in the first place, even though it's a high histamine food in my particular case. There's also cassava flour pancakes. Cassava is one of the best microbiome builders. So it's a gluten-free, dairy-free, low histamine, super brilliant resistant starch offering to help enhance your own microbiome. So you get to download them here at the bottom and add them to your regimen. So once you've got them printed off, click on Mark Completed so that you know you've already gone in to get the content from this module. There's no need to go back in. Scrolling back down to the bottom, we've done the recipes. Now we've got also a weekly food challenge. Every week, I was doing this on the socials for a while, but it's useless to put things up on social media now, it feels like. So I'm not going to waste my time over there. It's all here. I still have solutions for you. But the weekly challenges was a way to enhance or to highlight those foods and other food ways to think about supporting the main topic. Until today, our topic was thyroid in the last month, 2 months actually. So this week's food that came out on Monday was sweet potatoes. So was here to help with thyroid and metabolism. I always pick 3 nutrients, talk about how those 3 nutrients actually help the system that we're addressing that month. And then in the network, didn't do this on the socials, gave you a bunch of ideas on how to work in sweet potatoes to your regimen. So as the month goes on, this one's going to get bumped down, and then you're going to get a new one. The new one's always here where it says this week, always at the top. And as we go through the weeks of the month, they're going to get bumped down below. So you can always go back and retrieve the content whenever. What I would do with this on my worksheet, I'd say, oh, sweet potatoes are really good. I better put sweet potatoes under the action food piece. Eat sweet potatoes. Of course you should. All right, we're going back to our modules. The last written module we've got is one on seasonal eating. This one is going to go until the end of November. December 1st, we switch into winter, of course. We're going to talk about fall one last time. So I've got a video here that explains why eating with the seasons is so important. I cannot tell you, I'm excited to really delve into the seasonal aspect of the influence on your microbiome this season in the next 2 months. So this is going to be even more relevant for those who've been in the network. If you've been in the network and you've yet to check out the seasonal eating module, now we're really going to bring it home and make it count. So as you scroll down, you're going to see there's a handout here for the fall season. There's also another recipe bundle. Those recipes are all of the season. They are also ways to think about moving through the season and really getting into the rhythm of nature. So once you get in here and you've printed it off, you're going to have a little sign up here that says mark completed. Go ahead and mark that completed. I already did last month, actually. So that's why it's marked as completed. Now that's the written content. So now there's video content left to explore. We've got pre-recorded and live sessions. Let's start with the pre-recorded. This is the on-demand stuff. You've got 3 to choose from. There's a real food reset module. There's a vitality class, and there's a scratch cooking class. The difference between all of these, this is a program I did a long time ago, about 6 years ago, the Real Food Reset, and it talks about the basics of going back to real food. It's ancestral and traditional wisdom, if you will. And we talk about food as medicine in this one. I realize it's confusing because I also have a series of sessions called Food as Medicine. So bear with me, I'll show you what this is. This just tells you a bit about what the program was. And here is this month's module. So we're talking about food as medicine and how to build your own food as medicine toolkit. So this is just another way to explore some of those basic foundational concepts that tend to come back time and again in the work we do in the network. So this is a really great 40-minute video. Spend Saturday morning jotting down notes and watching the content of here, and it may give you some new ideas to pop onto your worksheet. We've got extras, of course, where if you need to do some further reading, further discovery, further exploration. We've also got some handouts and recipes. So we get into why fermented foods in this module. We also get into meat stock and why this is one of the key pieces. This is yet another way to look at gut health. So once you're done this module, you can click on mark completed so that next time you log in, it'll be clear that you've already looked at this module. So going back to our pre-recorded content, that was the first one. I've got a series of classes called the Vitality Sessions. The Vitality Sessions were all 2 or 3 hour classes that I originally ran at the Light Cellar in Bowness. These classes are really dense. They explore the biochemistry of what's happening in the body, and they get into solutions towards the end of the class. There is a full class on the gut. This has 2 modules, each are about an hour and a bit each. So it's a fairly long class. So it's the kind of thing you can watch over the span of the month if you wish. Come back and dial in where you left off. It is by itself an $80 class. It's included in the whole network so that you've got so many options you can get into to help do some of this work to support your microbiome. The gut is your terrain. The gut is where the microbiome lives. So anything you can do for the gut is going to help your microbiome piece. And last but not least, I love that it coincided with a cooking class on fermentation for the microbiome class. So here we are doing dilly carrots, fermented coconut or whipping cream, and pickled hot peppers. And it's a 90-minute class that my daughter and I did back at the start of the pandemic. And you can sit in our kitchen with us. We give you a grocery list and a recipe page. You set up your computer up in the kitchen and you join us live and you make your ferment along with us. So we're doing it. There were 72 of us in this class at the time where we were running it live, and it was just a riot. It was so fun. So this is one of the forgotten gems of the Good Food Network. So make sure you check this out. Fermentation class is so fun. That was us a long time ago. Now she no longer lives at home. She's gone on to her own life. She's in university already. Goodness gracious. So there's your grocery list. There's the handout. So these are the handouts. Then you jump in and you get ready and you join us and you make some ferments and then your life changes. Those are your 3 pre-recorded contents. Again, the Food is Medicine 40-minute session, that 2-hour gut class, and that cooking class on fermentation. Might those be ones that you want to include in your foray into the network this month? If so, make sure when you print up your checklist, they're included. If there are things you don't want, go ahead and cross those out on your checklist. We've got 2 more under this live session that I want to show you. So here is where I think you're going to get the most bang for your buck this month. And if you can't join us live, don't worry. Each of these has a replay. So we're covering these, they're about half-hour topics every Thursday morning, 7 to 7:30 in the morning, Alberta time. Your cameras are off, your microphones are off, so you can come in your PJs, you could be making breakfast, everybody's making lunches while you've got this playing in the background. Absolutely. So you don't have to be at your best when you're coming to join us. You don't have to take notes if you don't want to. But we're covering these topics and we're going to get into more specific. So I think of these food as medicine topics as we're looking under the microscope and going a little bit tinier, tighter dive into something. So we're going to be talking about microbiome and the immune system. So anybody who's got an autoimmune condition, anybody with an embattled immune system, anybody who gets all the colds and flus, or who has a hard time recovering. If you're somebody who takes 3 weeks to recover from a cold where your spouse takes 2 days, this is going to be a very big key piece that you'll want to make time for. That is next Thursday. The Thursday after that, we're talking about the circadian connection. We'll be going into much greater discourse on this in this session. We'll be doing a bit of a dive in at the SOS Microbiome live class, which I'll show you in a second. But this is a brand new area of exploration, and it's way more than just taking a probiotic. We're going to be talking about the microbiome and the liver connection, why the 2 are connected, and if you're not seeing improvement in the liver and her function when you're doing liver-specific things, has anybody told you to look after your microbiome? What could you help improve when you also now look after the microbiome? We'll give very specific solutions for where those 2 meet. And the last Thursday of the month, we're going to be talking about constipation. So for anybody who's got constipation on occasion or is one of the steady pieces in their life, now comes the question, how's your microbiome, pal? We're going to talk about what's going on and what does it take to help resolve it. So all of these offer a deeper dive into solutions specifically aimed at where this topic is covered. And once we've done those sessions, they are going to be under here, under video replays this month. So you're going to see this week's session here. And as you get new sessions, the older ones get bumped down here, and the newest one will always be at the top. Let's go back to our modules for one last one. So we're scrolling past those on-demand courses. These ones, the last of the live, this is the class we're doing on November 13th. It's called SOS Microbiome. We're going to be doing it on a Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. And this is a full class where we're going to be exploring these 5 things. The microbiome's role in health. What is dysbiosis? What's going on and how do you know you have it? Why probiotics aren't the whole answer. We'll talk about gut health and circadian rhythm in good detail. And of course, those practical tips to support your microbiome and gut health as well. So this is going to help you build that worksheet of what is those pieces you need to put in place for yourself in order to resolve what those symptoms are. So if you say yes to at least any of these followings, you should be joining us in the Good Food Network this month. Do you struggle with bloating, gas, irregular digestion? Do you suspect your gut is impacting your energy, your immunity, your mood? Have you tried probiotics and had not had lasting results? Are you curious how that circadian rhythm has the potential of affecting your gut health? Do you have histamine issues? Do you react poorly to fermented foods? Do you want to build a strong foundation for overall well-being and protecting against that degeneration of health as we get older? Do you want to help protect against that? Microbiome is one of the hidden gems of what nutrition can help with. So this class, when you join the online or when you join the Good Food Network, you get access to this class. You can also just take this class on its own, but for all intents and purposes today, I'm just showing you where all of these pieces are. So if you're going to join us in the network, this is one of the pieces you're going to want to take part in. Once we've run the class, if you can't join us live, you're going to scroll down to where it says catch the replay. And this is where you're going to click here once the replay is available. I haven't done the class yet. We're going to have handouts and recipes and some extra links out there once the class is all up and ready for you. So those are the moving pieces and the modules in that Good Food Network. Again, the sort of admin pieces and the setting yourself up for success pieces. The pre-recorded content on demand. The live sessions, their replays are also in these same modules. So I keep the topics all together. And that written content, which makes it very easy to just get a bunch of stuff done. Now, once you join us in the network, I want to highlight one of the pieces that I think can be quite helpful. So on the left here, we're just in a section of modules. Go ahead and click on chat. And the chat here, oh yeah, this is where it gets a little bit chunky. So you could do it through here. I prefer to do it up through here. You see a little chat bubble up top, right? If you click on this one, it's going to show you this kind of window. So you've got the Good Food Network and you've got me, your practitioner, I suppose, where you can ask questions. But there's a chat, there's a group chat for everybody in the Good Food Network. So whenever I post new content, I always put something in the chat so that when you log in, start here. Always start with that little chat bubble up top right, and it's going to take you down here to see what is some of the new stuff that's waiting for you since the last time you logged in. So this morning, updated all the modules and dropped word saying new month, new content. So we've got everything here, and here start with the written content. It'll knock things off your to-do list in a flash. So this can help you better utilize the Good Food Network and stay on top of what is available. So here, for example, so last Thursday, what's today, Friday? So yesterday, we had a session on the 3 essential roots and shoots for thyroid. So I posted about it the day before, just as a, hey guys, this is what we're doing tomorrow morning. Come and join us. A little bit of what you could expect and how to know if maybe this is you that might need to catch this presentation. And then when I've got it up and ready, I always put it in the comments. It's in the module Food is Medicine sessions for October. Then where else can you find the replay for it? Well, turns out I added an extra replay link above here in the group chat so that those who weren't able to catch it, because it was only living there for half a day, so they'd be able to see it. So usually it just says, go to the module. There's the sweet potatoes. So you'll get a little notice that'll say, okay, here's your food for this week. If you don't want to go find recipes, you just want to know why, just look at the chat. And these are the kinds of things. Every Friday, I also post a link to something you may find interesting. So we'll link out to content that'll make sense and be tied to our main topic. And sometimes these articles that I find are tied to a question that somebody in the network sends my way. So I want you to make sure you use this little chat bubble up top right to access this chat. Now, if you're in the chat and you're like, oh, how do I go back to my program, Luca? Here's a little tip. Up top left is this button that has my logo on it. If you click on it, it takes you back to your home page. From the home page, you will see Good Food Network here, or you can also click on Programs from the left side of your menu. Click on Programs. I want the Good Food Network. Oh, there it is. All my modules are here. The chat is there or up here. And if you want to send me a personal chat, head up here, go to the personal chat and say, Luca, I have a question. I do this every month. Can you tell? This is all there is. And so you would type your question there and I'll get back to you. That's one of the benefits of being in the Good Food Network. You have the potential of asking questions and I will get back to you within the next day or next working day. If it's a weekend, I'll get back to you on Monday. That is that for the Good Food Network for the month of November. I think there's a lot of value in there. What kind of issues are you looking to address? Are you enjoying having that insomnia? Are you enjoying the bad breath? Do you enjoy having a list of foods that are troublesome? Do you want that to change? In this network, we talk about what it's going to take for those symptoms to go away. We give you your to-do, and you consume as much as you want. I encourage you to spend half an hour to an hour every week. And if you're able to do that, I promise you, you'll get good use out of the network. So wherever you're watching this video, you're going to have a link below. The link below is going to give you all of the information on questions you can ask yourself. There's a whole write-up of what you can include or what is included in the Good Food Network and a series as you scroll down to ask yourself those questions. How do I know if the Good Food Network is for me? So those questions are going to help you know whether or not this is a good option for you. I'll tell you, the majority of the people who are in it are either former clients who want some of that reminder all the time of those pieces that we may have worked on together. Or we also have a lot of people who have wanted to be a one-on-one client, but it's outside of their price point. Joining the Good Food Network is for those people. So if you're one of those people where you are wanting solutions-based work, where you're wanting the practical and a little bit of the explanation, but really, how do I do this on a day-to-day basis then? Come and join us in the Good Food Network. It's open 24 hours a day, and you can join us at any point of time in the month. You stay in for a full month and stay as long as you want. I look forward to crossing paths with you in the Good Food Network. Thanks for joining me on this Friday morning. I look forward to seeing you in the Good Food Network. Take care. Salut. À bientôt.